got a problem here.
What did you do?
Nothing. I stirred the tanks. This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
And we do have a problem on Columbus Local Podcast tonight, episode 26 with Alecia Houston. Hi, Alecia.
Hi, Lynn. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's a pleasure to see you tonight, and I'm glad that you made the time to come talk about you.
Absolutely.
We met relatively recently. I know you frequent El Dorado's, and you also perform there. You also perform at King of Clubs. I know that one of your bands that you are involved in, Alecia Houston and the Firmm, has performed there relatively recently. Within not too long of a period of time. And then also you have your acoustic act, Houston, We Have a Problem.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about Houston, We Have a Problem.
Houston, We Have a Problem is an acoustic act. We do classic rock and blues. When I advertise us as unique, and I think that we are. We have two really great guitarists and a great bassist, and we work well together. The harmonies are good. The song choices are pretty much left up to me, and the guys support me a lot, and I am a person who likes to do the business end of things for something I'm involved in. It's something I've always done. So I do the booking for us, I set the prices for us, and I manage the band. So it can be overwhelming sometimes, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. And, you do what you just described, but, as the front person, vocalist, I know you're also a poet, an author, an award-winning author, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot that I think blends together for you that helps, create what we see on stage.
I hope so. I love characters, and I love, I think it's almost like getting to play dress up when you're a little girl, because you can create the illusion that you want everyone to conceive and put that out there. And I think that it's part of our show. It's part of our personality. So yeah, I love it. I love the clothes. I hate doing the makeup, but I have been different characters, and I've learned we have so many great characters in Columbus, don't we?
We do.
I know. So when I first came up to the Columbus way to play, because I played in Lancaster for quite a bit, the first thing I kind of do when I go to an area is seek out the characters and the originality of them and the popularity of them too, of course. And I kind of go and watch them. I learn from them. And here in Columbus, I've been so lucky because I've become really good friends with them. And they've been so generous to me and helped me along. For example, when I do the King of Clubs, I always meet with Willie Phoenix. And, we go over things, and I love Willie. Willie says, you know how to be the boss. So just put together what you want. A lot of people don't know, Alecia Houston and the Firmm is kind of an exclusive band in the fact that when I do bigger venues, I use a lot of hired guns. And I watch these people, Mike Rock is my darling brother. I love Mike. We're very, very close. We have been for years and years. And so he has done both shows, and if he's available for any of my big shows, I prefer to have Mike Rock. He's a great showman, and we play off of each other very well. I like that, and I think the crowd likes that too. And we do things a lot differently because it's a bigger 5-piece band, and when I front a big stage, I can't be still. I'm all over it. And my musicians work very, very well with me. We can go in with these people and do 2 rehearsals and be ready for a show, which is fantastic. So and I love playing the bigger venues with the bigger bands.
It sounds awesome, and I'm sure that the friendship that you have is reflective too in your performance, especially with Mike. Right, you sing, you play off each other, but you can tell there's a connection.
Oh, absolutely.
Beyond the music, that is a a good friendship there.
Yes, Mike was one of the first people I met. He and Willie Phoenix, and Kim Crawford, and they were so generous and so giving and encouraging and so talented. So it was Mike I would do about anything for. He often comes over to visit and when he can. Mike is a busy musician for a good reason.
Absolutely. Yep.
And he's a wonderful person too. He's a really down-to-earth, nice guy. Yes,
indeed. Yeah, and I appreciate every minute I've had with Mike, and it hasn't been but a millisecond compared to the time that you've had with him yourself.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Columbus?
I've been in Columbus. I was trying to remember. I think it's 37 years.
Yeah,
it's right around there.
Yeah, so you're kind of a a native here already.
Kind of, yes. I enjoy Columbus. I really enjoy the atmosphere amongst the musicians here. It is a very supportive of everyone, genuinely caring community. They go out of their way to reach out when they know, things aren't so great, or you may need something. And what will happen is people that you've never met before will send you messages and say, I heard you were having a benefit. Can we help you out? So I love that about this community, because I think the best quality in any community, any person, and any venture is humanity. I'm a huge fan of humanity. I'm a big humanitarian, and I really don't want to discuss my humanitarian work because I'm very private about that. But I am very, very proud of the undercurrent of my humanitarian work.
That's awesome. It really is. And I think, as an author and a songwriter and a live performance, professional, right? Tying in some of those humanitarian efforts is a natural for you, obviously.
I think so too, and I really enjoy playing the shows where you can come off the stage and interact with people, and I really love people. I never see a stranger. And I really, especially, of course, love musicians and artists, poets, writers, that kind of thing, because I'm so curious as to how they work. And I'm sure I talk people to death when I first meet them. But Yeah, it's. I think it's all a big learning experience, and I think, as I told you before, music is an education like no other. It will educate you fast in some things, and some things you learn it the hard way. But it depends on what you want out of your music, what you're seeking to do, the story you want to tell, and the imaginations you want to stir, and the character you want to be. It's wonderful because that's another creative outlet for you, is creating that character for the band, the front person of a band especially. I love Mike Rock because he is so visual when he plays, and I really like that. So
Yeah, he's a show in himself.
isn't he? Hi, Mike.
So, between the two projects that you run, is the material similar in what is performed? In other words, do you do the same? Do you pick from the same set list between the two projects, and just one's electric and one's acoustic?
We do have some changes in the songs between both projects. Excuse me. Some we have changed taken some of the rock songs and like the Hendrix songs and things like that, and adapted them acoustically, and so and that's a lot of fun too, because you get a chance to perform in many different ways. So that's a lot of fun too.
Absolutely.
But one of my favorite songs to do is All Along the Watchtower. And when we did it acoustically, Chris Noon, who is my lead player in Houston We Have a Problem, suggested slowing it down and doing it kind of hauntingly. And it's really cool. I love the rendition of it.
That sounds fun. I love to play that song.
Oh, I do too.
And
I
I've
love
done
it.
it at, recorded speed, but I've also done it as you described, more of an acoustic kind of groove. And I'm inspired by that, that chord progression to, be relatively expressive in some of those lead parts and fills.
Oh, yeah.
When it's kind of grooved down and, more intimate of a delivery, that's a fun song.
Oh,
Anything.
absolutely.
Geez.
Oh, I know. I do a lot of Jimi Hendrix. I love Jimi Hendrix.
I haven't seen any of your gigs to date, but I'm going to change that.
You have to come out and see us.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I love, Lynn, what we were on the subject of, is whoever is doing a song, they really have their own version, their own take on it. I enjoy so much listening to other people's versions of it, watching their versions of it, and there's so much talent here. There really is, and there is a couple of very charismatic, like old-fashioned front people that I'm really interested in, and you know them, so I'm going to ask you some more questions about it later.
Okay.
But part of what I do is I have to watch a lot of videos and see, if this venue, that venue is suitable for me, I'm suitable for them. It's when it comes right down to it in the end, and it's someone has to do the managing, someone has to do the booking, and that's more of a non-glamorous part of it.
I agree. And even the marketing and the promotion, of the cultivating a fan base or an audience is almost a full-time job in itself.
Oh, it certainly is. It certainly is. And I tell you, I thought about this today because when the rock and roll band that I had for so long, and we were very, very popular. We were on 19 at Noon. We were in Entertainment Columbus, did an article. they
Are you able to name that band?
Rockin' Horse. Yeah.
Okay.
Rockin' Horse. It was a lot of fun. But back then, I don't know if it's social media or because I sometimes I think, well, how did we find places and book places without social media? So that was a big difference back then too. Maybe that's why we got paid more. I don't know. I think it's to load the gear. But it seemed like there were not as many of us, especially women, and I don't, it seemed that way. There was Mimi Rousseau, there was Holiday Parker. Help me out here, Lynn. I'm showing my age.
Sean Booker.
Oh, Sean Booker is a mainstay forever. I adore Sean Booker. She's a great human being, and boy, that lady can sing. And she also puts on a great show too.
Absolutely.
I think she's fabulous.
Yeah, and she's out there now.
Oh yes,
current.
Yep.
I know that you mentioned the Spitting Image front person a moment ago.
Mimi.
Mimi. I think she lives in California now. I don't think she's local, but I think she's still doing some recording and working,
That's great.
as a singer in
That's
some
great.
capacity. But I agree that, back then, when you say back then, we're talking within the last 30 or 40 years. We're in the same age bracket.
Oh,
at least.
Yeah, we're talking about that long ago. But yeah, and there was a lot of camaraderie between certain bands, and if you want to ask me one of my favorite band stories, which I know you do, first of all, I don't know if I can tell all of my favorite band stories.
You can.
So one evening, we were playing at the Westgate. Remember the Westgate? We're on the west side.
I don't.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. But Glenn Manuel was my drummer then. Glenn, he's another great guy. Great bassist. Glenn was my bass player then. So one evening, there was a bar, a dancing girls bar down the street. So this very young girl came in these snakeskin pants, and my guys are moving around and looking, and she's doing this dancing, and she starts dipping this and pulling up that, and putting on a show.
Right in front of your band.
Oh, yes. Well, my lead player at that time was Sam Church. Sam lives in Florida now. I heard from him yesterday. And the rhythm player was Ian Houston, who is my husband now. So Sammy leans over to Ian and he goes, "Hey, Ian, you better get behind me. You don't want to get in trouble." So the next thing you know, this girl thought she was at her other job. But the funniest part of the whole thing, my band's just going nuts, and the girl comes up on stage and wrapped herself around me. And I was just, speechless, which is very rare for me. Finally, I said, don't we have someone that takes care of this here? And they got her off of the stage. That was one of my favorite band stories. And but just... like I said, you see so many things. I thought about it this way the other day. I thought, well, because I'm a huge animal nut. I have a small zoo at home, and I love horses. When I was growing up, my grandfather called me Dr. Doolittle, and it kind of stuck. I had every kind of pet you could imagine, but I loved horses, and a friend of mine, his parents bought him a Palomino pony named Comanche, and no one could break Comanche, no one could ride him. So they brought him to me, and Comanche and I got along well. He was the ride of a lifetime, bareback too. But I thought, something, life and music and everything in between is very much like riding that horse. You come to a point where you think, I don't want to break this horse's spirit. I want him to run like this forever. And I think that is just a fascinating way to look at life. Just run forever and keep your spirit and be wild and explore everything that you can, that you're interested in.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to live.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
at
so.
some point, though, the body starts talking back.
That's for sure. That's for sure it does.
Which I'm learning the hard way.
Oh, absolutely.
But I agree with you. I mean, I think it's a great philosophy and a great way to live. And that's you know, that's awesome. And you adopt that then.
Oh, I try
yourself.
to. Well, you know, I had to be. I learned a lot of really valuable lessons very young, and I don't know. I think I've always been a very compassionate person. My father was like that. I'm very much like my father. So as I looked around me and went through life and experienced life, I realized after surviving several things that I did and the things that it tried to take away from me, that I really wanted to do and explore everything that I had an interest in. And I probably have failed as much as I've succeeded, but I wanted to find out if the answer was going to be no. Because if I didn't, to myself, then I never knew the right answer. And, you know, I was really fortunate in a lot of the ventures that I took, especially when I took a hiatus. I went back to Eastern Kentucky for a little while and was involved with wonderful, wonderful activities with the children down there. And so I was brave enough to walk into the Board of Education. I was brave enough to walk into the newspaper and that first school. And, you know, you and I went over some of that. I'm very proud of the work I did in Eastern Kentucky, and I am very education-minded. And I don't think that education has to necessarily mean college or anything like that. I think that if you want to learn something and you're passionate about it, that drive is the big thing. Your curiosity is something you have to feed. And there's so many resources now. There's so many resources. However, I still use a thesaurus. I have a dictionary. Sometimes I read my thesaurus just, you know, to be interesting. I was stuck on a word the other day, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked through my thesaurus, my dictionary, and everybody's like, just Google it, just Google it. So I asked my husband, I go, what does the word, and I told him the word mean. He goes, oh, that. And I was like, oh, I wish I hadn't asked. I kind of do things, and sometimes you've heard the expression ass backwards into a field of daisies.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
Well, it happens to all of us, I think.
Yeah. And then there's the occasional bee in the flower.
Exactly. With a sharp stinger.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So some of these tools then, and some of your natural innate, you know, curiosities that you've, you know, explored it to quench, right? Like the passion of some of those characteristics that make up you. As a songwriter, do you have a process that you follow? What's your how does an original song that you write come about?
Well, I write in different ways. I have written to tracks that were played to me that needed lyrics. I mainly, when I get an idea for a song, first of all, I stop what I'm doing and I start writing it down, old-fashionedly, of course, not recording it. And I will get this idea, and then for some reason it just comes to me in like a rush, and it's almost all I can do to write it quickly. And usually, of course, then I take it apart and reconstruct it after I have the ideas, subtract, add, like any other.
Is it the music part or is it the lyrics?
That
this.
Sometimes it's both.
Okay.
Sometimes it's both. I will sometimes sing a song and say, I'd like it to go, or what do you think of this? Because I always respect input, and, I don't play well on in any particular instrument. So I value the input, and a lot of the times agree. And of course, when you work with someone else, there's always going to be changes and compromises and things that maybe you didn't think of, maybe they didn't think of, to make it sound better and be better. So I'm all for that, anything that. And then there's times when I, no, I don't want to change that. And so I think if it takes me a long time to really get the idea and to comprise the song, then usually it seems and sounds contrived to me. It's like I could tell I was pushing it to finish it, or I put a line in there that was so nefarious that it had no business being there, and I was just going for the hook.
To get through it.
Right.
Get it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many songs have you written?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I really don't know. Books and books.
Hundreds,
and
thousands. Hundreds.
Oh, maybe 1,000. I don't know.
How many have you recorded?
Well, I'm not sure. It depends on. I've recorded a lot at home downstairs. I recorded several at Fifth Floor in Cincinnati years ago. I recorded in Louisville, and also in another studio in Eastern Kentucky. So, and again, I don't know how people remember the dates. God bless you. Well, they're probably young. Or did they take notes? Probably. Probably. I started to, but I was afraid I'd get caught. It would be like when I was in home ec, my teacher would say to me, "Dear, you're really just not wife material."
Oh, my.
And my typing teacher would tell me I wasn't, going to be a secretary and that kind of thing. But you know what? It was great because they would pass me on my written work. I mean, I would write something and it would get passed around the school and stuff by the kids. And I had great teachers, a couple of really great teachers. And they would give me, passing grades. Boy, it's funny because now I have this old antique typewriter, and sometimes just for fun, I stand on the keys and type on it.
Nice.
But
reminiscing.
Yeah, reminiscing.
Who do you go out to see?
Oh, man. I got a whole list right now of people that I want to go out to see. I'm just getting back on my feet enough to get back out. And, of course, I always go to see Willie. And Who have I seen recently that I really liked? I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to hurt any
No,
feelings.
that's okay. Like what genre do you find yourself drawn toward?
I really love classic rock. Mm-hmm. I love blues. I like. I have been dancing my feet off lately to my 1904 gramophone and my 73 records.
Wow.
Which is, swing and big band and that kind of thing. I actually have a few of them that tells you what dance is best. I think this evening I'm going to go home and try the hokey pokey.
Oh, good for you. They say that that's what it's all about. About the hokey pokey.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to try it and finally figure things out for once.
Maybe it'll come to you.
Maybe it will. I love things like that old gramophone, and I love antique anything, especially unusual things, but I pick them because they speak to me and they tell me stories. I can sit and look at that gramophone and it tells me a million stories without me ever opening the lid.
Good for you. How long have you had this gramophone?
Oh, let's see. Much to the gentleman's chagrin, because I bought it for a song. His wife, God bless you women, wanted it out of the garage. So I've had it for 2 or 3 months now.
So it's recent.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It's gorgeous. It's this big mahogany cabinet, solid brass inside, and you crank up the crank on it, and you lift this big, heavy, the needle is so heavy, and you put it on, and oh, it's wonderful. And it has this great sound with just the top lid open, but then there are cabinet-like doors, and you open those, and that makes it in stereo.
Wow.
Which is fabulous. And to me, something that was in that beautiful of condition, because it is, and still plays. And I know I like to imagine who had it, where it's been, and I think that old things like that, they carry so much spirit and imagination with them, and you just got to listen and look. So they're a good source of inspiration to me. And, of course, my little zoo is my children's book was about one of my cockatoos, Gabriel, whom I hatched in an incubator from an egg.
So how do you have pets, animals at home?
I do.
How many do you have?
I have 4 parrots, 3 cockatoos, 1 blue and gold macaw named Elvis, and I have a gorgeous German Shepherd who just got first place poster boy in Wisconsin somewhere on a German Shepherd site, and then I have a smaller dog. My last day gig was a veterinarian technician, but I've always loved animals. So, and unfortunately, no one has stopped me until I got to this large of a collection. But I used to train too, and I do all the training for my animals. Like Kilo is my German Shepherd, and he's sharp. He's very sharp. He's the only thing is with Kilo, you can't keep him calm when he sees people, and he's so intimidating looking. He really is. He's huge. And, he's slobbering, hanging over the fence. All he cares if, hey, you got a Frisbee on you? And he loves to play. He's so friendly. He's got the greatest personality. And he was really easy to train. I love German Shepherds. But my little dog's very smart. She has a whole routine, too, that we trained on in my little office.
That's cool. So getting back to live performance then, you mentioned characters. You love characters. Do you find yourself transforming into a character when you're taking the stage and fronting your band for the night?
Yeah, to some extent I do. I find myself the most comfortable, the most confident. It's been the mainstay of my entire life since my father was a musician. My father taught me to sing. I have my prized possession in my pocket right now, which is, my dad called it a tune finder, but it's actually to help you be in the right key with your voice and find your proper keys and that kind of thing. So we had a band and traveled a lot when I was 5 maybe. So, and it's just, I really have never known anything else but that. It was something that my father absolutely loved, and I think he was happiest when he was and more comfortable in that position too. He was very charismatic, my father was.
Do you find yourself thinking about what he was doing, or is he a source of inspiration when you're performing?
Oh, absolutely.
Seems.
Absolutely. Back in time, I set out, early. I've lived everywhere. Music has you on the road a lot, and I traveled a lot and moved a lot to be in certain areas where maybe certain players were and that kind of thing. So my father would call me, and before he would say hello, he would say, "Where are you now?" And although he was my dad, it worried him some, and I was very independent and lived alone and that kind of thing. But he was very, very proud of me, and he, I think, still is, and I'm never far from where he is. Always.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah. My father raised me, so we were very close. And I admired him so much for a lot of the qualities that he had. Everybody does their dad and they look up to him. But like I said, I watched him teach other people vocals and different things. And he was very firm, but he would be kind about it. I mean, I even got told by my own dad, "Honey, you just can't sing that song. You're jumping key, you're jumping time," and we would go over it and over it with this little pitch pipe. And so I remember that a lot. And I really appreciate it now. I really do, because he emphasized how important every little note was in doing something. He taught me diversity in it, and to explore what your voice could do. You can't always do what the other person can do. And I'm an alto too, and that's kind of deep for a lot of female vocalists, to be, and I'm so many octaves of an alto, but I am a straight alto. Although I've been known to hit some soprano notes when I see mice or something like that.
That's so good. Sometimes we tap into those surprise moments when we're, trying to hit some of those notes.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't sing, but I can relate to what you're saying there. Doing some backup, you try to tap into something that's going to kick in the falsetto to some degree, for me anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can. There are certain songs that we do that there are notes that get up there a little high and everything, and I have learned to do much better than I did, I think. But I think everybody, vocalists, you're really so exposed, to everybody. And when you are coming up to a certain note and that for some reason you're just not going to get there, you just know you're not going to get there. And I don't know if it's precluding yourself from getting there or not psyching yourself out, but that's really tough. And then is when you think on your feet and you think of a note that will fit decently. It's goes back to what we were saying before, how everybody has their own take on things and that kind of thing. And you know, as a musician yourself, rehearsal and getting a song down is wonderful and it's great. And you have to do that and know that song. But when you're just kind of turned loose and get to have fun with it and, you know, jam with it and make it your own, it's really fun.
For sure. Absolutely.
And it helps you think on your feet really well, too.
Which I'm sure you do.
Well, I think that in a lot of ways, every place is different that you play. And another thing that I don't think people think about, that I thought about the other day, is, you know, a lot of times we go into these venues and these places, we're not sure where we are. We don't know what the crowd's going to be like. We don't even know where the stage is that we're playing on. Do we load in through the outdoor and out through the indoor? So
it's part of the journey.
It's part of the journey, absolutely. And it's you know, part of the excitement and the mystery of it. So, well, you know, we've all played those bars where you would rather there be a little less mystery and know where the back door is. But each one's different a little bit, don't you think? So
there's personality. A lot of them take on the persona of their owner. You know,
yes.
The attitude of the staff, the, you know, how happy are they? How uptight are they? You know, it kind of gives you an indication sometimes. You know, what can you do being there to help generate some, you know, some purchases at the bar and restaurant, you know, you know, that kind of thing. You know, because that's part of the whole community is partnering not only with the people that come to see you, but the venues, those that are supporting local music, you know, having you there, taking the responsibility to partner with that performance, that show, doing the best that you can to generate ahead of time, way ahead of time. You know, getting that buzz going to come to the show. That's really important, at least in my book.
Oh, I fully agree.
Learn these lessons along the way.
I always, this is what I say to my musicians that I work with, and this is how I feel about each venue. Listen, if I'm booked to play from 9 till 11, 12, whatever, when I go in, when I walk through that venue door, I'm an employee there. I was hired to do a job, and I know the parts of that job. It's like you said, it consists of many things, and you have to be sometimes very diplomatic, and you should always be friendly, and, you know, like you say, just happy to be there, because without the venues, then we have no place to play.
There's not a lot going on.
Yeah, and without the people. So I think I often come off stage and, you know, dance with people, and, you know, I know it's important to try to make sure everybody is having a good house and a good night. And so there's a lot of people that you're responsible for when you walk in that door.
For sure. Yeah, and I agree totally. So here we are, October 2023, Alecia. Okay, what's on the horizon? What's coming up? You know, the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, year, 2 years.
Oh gosh, well, as you know, I went through a rough patch for the last couple of years with my health. So I'm looking forward to Alecia Houston and the Firmm playing more. I enjoy my acoustic act very much, and it's going along smoothly. We're going to be in Lancaster at Ale House 1890 this coming Saturday, from 8:30 to 11:30.
That's October 7th. Is that right?
Yes.
October 7th, 2023.
We play down east a lot. We're kind of popular down there. I think it's my accent.
That's cool.
And in the next coming years of my life, I just really kind of want to continue as I have and hope that I learn more. And I hope that I grow more persistent and diligent and strong to pursue those things. And I hope that my curiosity doesn't stop, because I think it would be pretty boring of a life to wake up and know everything. So many projects. I have several writing projects going on right now. I may be interviewing someone in the near future.
Cool.
Yes. I've been a journalist at one time, so I think, I know how to put them on the hot seat, and I think that's what I'll do.
Sounds like a good idea. Well, good deal. Well, I hope that curiosity stays with you, for the duration, and have fun along the way, Alecia.
Thank you very much, Lynn.
And I really appreciate you coming out tonight.
I enjoyed it.
And we thank everybody for listening.
Thank you very much.
All right, Columbus Local Podcast with Alecia Houston. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn.
Bye-bye.